It's time to breathe new life into my knackered old Saturn thanks to the wonderful development of the SAROO cartridge. So if you frequent enough retro gaming YouTube channels, you've probably heard of the SAROO cart by now. This open source project has led to a plethora of independent manufacturers to sell these things on sites like AliExpress, and they're pretty inexpensive. If you need a quick refresher on what the SAROO is, then it's basically a flash cart solution for the Sega Saturn. It plugs into the memory card slot at the back of the Saturn and lets you boot backups of your Saturn games from a micro SD, completely bypassing the disk drive altogether. It can even drastically reduce load times, which is a cool little bonus. The cartridge runs on some custom firmware that you can download from GitHub, and as of December 2024 it is at version 0.7, which allows for on-screen box art from the game selection menu, as well as being able to organise your game list alphabetically. So why would you want one of these? Well, it's not the first flash solution for running backups on the Saturn, and there's a device called the Satiator which does a similar thing, but that plugs into the VCD bay on the back of the Saturn. This is a much more expensive device that offers better compatibility than the SAROO, and that's not even mentioning the plethora of ODEs that replace the disk drive itself and essentially offer 100% compatibility. What the SAROO is doing is making this sort of stuff much more affordable, and I really welcome that sort of thing. High-end devices will always have their market, but I tend to champion budget solutions because I just want more people to have access to retro games. I'm running this 40 quid SAROO cart on a PAL Model 2 Saturn that I bought back in 2010 for 60 quid, and while it's unmodded, meaning performance is capped at 50 FPS, I basically have access to my Saturn games again, and more. You see, this Saturn is suffering from a very common fault that plagues original hardware. The spindle on the disk drive is sinking into the console. This means that discs are scraping against the base of the disc tray, and the lens that focuses the laser to read the discs is now misaligned. Even if you try and adjust the spindle, it's a total crapshoot whether or not games will load. Disk drives of this vintage are not meant to last this long, which is why there are now so many flash solutions for old consoles. Of course, if you have a decent PC and you just want to bypass real hardware altogether, then Saturn emulation is the best it's ever been right now. I'd highly recommend the SSF and YMIR emulators, but playing on real hardware is a different experience altogether. You can't emulate the feeling of using a Saturn, and that's the real joy of using the real thing. Mucking around on the dashboard, sorting out your save data, using a real Saturn controller, and really understanding the peripheral these games are made for, that's what emulation can't achieve. Getting a SAROO cart has basically rejuvenated my interest in the Saturn, and when you're playing the best stuff this console has to offer, then you're playing some of the most important video games of all time. Panzer Dragoon Saga, Burning Rangers, Radiant Silvergun, Shining Force 3, Virtua Fighter 2, Guardian Heroes, Sakura Wars, and Sega Rally are all-timers that can now be made available to you without breaking the bank. The SAROO is really easy to set up, and I'll link to some guides in the video description that helped me, but basically you download the latest firmware from GitHub, unzip it to a micro SD that's formatted to FAT32, and then start loading it up with disk images in the bin.q format. It's really that simple, and then you start digging a little deeper and start finding a bunch of games that nobody really talks about. You discover some real freak shit and bathe in the weirdness of the Saturn library. That means it's recommendations time. Let's take a look at 5 Saturn games that I've played for the first time thanks to owning a SAROO, and I think that you should give a go too. Bulk Slash has seen a bit of a revival thanks to a wonderful fan translation by Dan Thrax that also features fully voiced English dialogue done to a really professional standard, but this has been my first time properly playing it. This is a mech combat game where you fly around large arenas, taking out specific targets before tackling a more intense boss battle with a larger machine that normally has a wide range of offensive capabilities. Your co-pilot helps guide you to the next target, and you can transform between a ground-based mech and a flying mode. The action is extremely loud and thrilling, and character control is really smooth and responsive, making for a really enjoyable action game that is now more accessible than ever thanks to the English translation. I've honestly had so much fun flying around and causing all manner of chaos, and I'm really happy to finally have this game in my life.
To the rear! Straight ahead! Target destroyed!
Astal is a game that our American viewers may have some nostalgia for, but we didn't get it in the UK and Europe, so this is my first time playing it. I quickly became enthralled by this, and it's not like what I was expecting at all. This feels like Sega's attempt at making a Kirby game. It has a similar whimsical vibe that sees you slowly making your way through 2D action stages, jumping on enemies or using melee combat to wipe them out. You can also chuck enemies around, which is great fun, and you can also blow enemies to stun them. However, the real highlight is the game's presentation. This is a gorgeous 2D game with lovely hand-drawn visuals and an ethereal soundtrack that just makes the whole game really stand out. Sure, the action might be quite slow and derivative, but you should seriously try and just soak in the atmosphere of Astal, because it's so unique. It really feels like the weird crossover point between Kirby and Ristar that I didn't realise I always wanted. Tryrush Deppy has a spectacularly ludicrous title, but this cutesy platform has some cool ideas. While the core mechanics are your traditional run around and jump on enemies affair, the game also features a boost button that makes it feel a bit like a modern Sonic game. What's interesting about this boost gauge is that it's shared with your health, and this is displayed as a fuel gauge. This means you need to balance using the boost with keeping the fuel topped up so that you have enough health to take hits with. There's a fun bit of give and take going on that makes for a very creative little platformer. It also looks gorgeous, like the artwork of legendary Famitsu artist Susumu Matsushita has come to life. This is a really cool little Japan exclusive platformer that's extremely friendly to non-Japanese audiences. Princess Clara Daisakusen is an isometric run and gun where you play as a magical girl or a giant dog, whatever floats your boat. The game tasks you with shooting down huge swathes of robots and turning them into cute animals which can then be rescued for bonus points. You can also use a powerful melee attack if you want to get up close and personal, and there's power-ups strewn around the stages to power up your standard shot or give you access to a temporarily buffed up version of yourself that's basically unstoppable for a short time. This is a really action-packed little shooter that amusingly disguises its madness behind an adorable aesthetic. Really good fun and another English-friendly Japan exclusive.
Jajamaru-kun! Onigiri Ninpouchou!
Jajamaru-kun Onigiri Ninpouchou Gold is a 3D platformer for the Saturn I am really happy to have discovered. It's got a bit of a weird control setup, with you having to use the shoulder buttons to rotate the camera, but you soon get used to it and then you're off to the races. This is a really enjoyable little game where you run and jump around various locations with lots of changes in elevation. You can jump on the roofs of the many buildings in the game, and you have to throw shuriken at the many enemies to defeat them and collect their spirits. There's also money littering the stages, so it's worth exploring and seeing what treasures are hidden throughout. This is a very simple little 3D platformer, but 3D platformers are a real rarity on the Saturn, so it's nice to discover another one. It's well made, with good controls and a fun sense of humour, so even if it's a bit by the books, there's still some good fun in here if you're a fan of the genre. And that's your lot for another Sega Driven video. Thank you to our wonderful Patreon subscribers who have financially supported the creation of this video. If you'd like to join them, then you can head on over to patreon.com/SEGADriven and subscribe at the $3 tier or higher to be credited in our videos and gain early access to new videos and writing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.